Everyone, a big thank you for joining us again. If you're here watching on the live, we've done a live already this morning, but we've run out of time, so we've had to come back for the second segment. Anyone who's a member of our Pro Player Pathway community, we get asked questions within the community, and this is going to be our what we call our Sunday Fun Day, where we do an hour every Sunday morning live on YouTube, and we're going to answer all your football questions around development, how to make it as a pro, how to get represented by a player agent like myself, and also just trying to help you in your football journey. Again, these questions are only if you're a member of our community. You can join our community for just over $1 a day. You can go to school.com, that's SKOOL.com/ pro player pathway, and you can register in the community, or you can hit the link below. But there's a lot more in there than just being able to ask me a question. We've got over $55,000 worth of programs. Also, you'll get a free copy of my book if you sign up for the community, and you only need to be in the community for 1 month and then you can unsubscribe. Also, there's a free copy of the ebook, and also, we offer trials for players to the UK and Europe and player representation completely free of charge. Okay. So, guys, all you need to do is sign up to that community. Now, a couple of the questions that we didn't get to before, and I'm going to answer them live on air. And hopefully, this will help some of you as you're watching. You want to learn a bit more about football. Now, this question's from David, and he says he's got two questions for me. First question, and I'm going to answer this one. Youth development disparities. Why is it being challenging for countries outside of Europe, like North America, Asia, Australia, to replicate the successful football development models seen in European football? And what specific aspects of these models are the most difficult to implement or replicate? David, this is an absolutely amazing question, and I'm going to give you the answer. And I'm going to dive a little bit deep into this one, and it might take more than 10 minutes to answer, but please follow me. If you need to and you're not watching this live, hit pause, go and get a drink and come back. But this one is going to blow your mind. So, the disparities with Europe to everywhere else is this. Let's use Australia as an example. In Australia, we have salary caps. In Australia, we only allow 1 to 2 visa players in our teams. The problem with that is that the reason why in Europe everyone is so much stronger, fitter, faster, technically better is because about 20 to 30 years ago in Europe, we actually seen it as an advantage to allowing South American players to infiltrate the leagues in Europe, players from Africa, players from all different parts of the world, because what we discovered was the greatest teacher on the planet in football is not you as a player individually. It's not a coach, and some of you might say it is Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Alex Ferguson. No, the greatest teacher you will ever find that produces and develops talent is me against my teammates, not me against the opposing players, me against my teammates. And I'll give you an example. We're in England, we are in an academy team, and we've got 8 players who've come from different countries around the world to be part of this academy. We've got players from Brazil, Argentina, South Africa, Nigeria, Tanzania, you name it. Okay. These all come from culturally different backgrounds. They do things slightly different than what might be done in England or Spain or wherever you live. But the big thing is these players are of a high quality. Now, the problem we've got in places like Australia and the USA, because we don't have things like we have salary caps, we have unlimited amounts of visa players that aren't allowed to come in, we're actually hindering our own development at a local level. So, can you imagine if you're at a club, let's say in Brisbane, we've got a club called Brisbane City, and in their NPL team, they're allowed to have 8 to 10 visa players in the squad. And those 8 to 10 visa players in the squad, 9 times out of 10 are going to be standout players. They're going to be solid players. Could you imagine the best 7 or 8 players who've come through the ranks from Brisbane City who are now training in that squad with those 8 to 10 visa players, they are going to be developed into stars because they're getting pushed physically, they're getting pushed technically, they're getting pushed tactically. And 99% of the time, these guys who are coming in on these contracts as visa players, if they were allowed to have unlimited amounts of visa players, they're going to be sharing a wealth of knowledge off the pitch and on the pitch, culturally from the countries they come from. But I'll be really honest, and I love Australia, and I'm proud to be Australian. I've lived in the US, and I loved it when I lived there. But some of these European countries and South American countries, they're just passionate to another level. And what it does is it raises the bar in training. And for me, that's a great question, David. That's one of the biggest disparities in football. We clamp everything down. Also, another thing that really affects us growing as a game in Australia, but also in the places the likes of the USA, is things like salary caps and not having the amounts, not having unlimited visa players in squads. Because you could imagine if Brisbane Raw could have 8 visa players, all of a sudden, from a sponsor's point of view, all of a sudden the Brisbane Raw is so attractive to sponsor because they've got superstars coming in from Europe and South America. All of a sudden, it widens the spectrum of sponsorship and money into the club. And it just then means the level of training goes up. And in turn, who benefits from that? Those 7 or 8 or 9 boys or girls in that senior setup who are locals, who are now training with these players who are 10 levels above them. And this is for me, that's the biggest disparity, is that we don't actually look at the system and actually try and see what works really, really well, and then just actually rinse and repeat and copy and paste. We seem to toy onto certain things like with this national curriculum that was put in place 10, 15 years ago. Someone had the bright idea that, yeah, let's do the 4-3-3 system because that's what Holland do. And at the time, our technical director was from Holland, and they decided that we were just going to follow this system. And it's like, no, 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 it's more than that. We've got to deep dive more into it, not just the formation. We've got to look at like, do they have visa players? How many visa players are they allowed? What are the coaching techniques? Why does it take 4 years minimum to do a UEFA A coaching course in Europe, but to do your FFAA license, you could potentially get it done in 12, 18 months? Why? Why is that? Is that because we're that much better in Australia and our course is that much better and we only cover what's really relevant? Or is it because ours isn't as good as Europe and UEFA do all the best coaching quals because they don't miss any single bit of detail and they don't just pass people for the sake of passing because you need A licensed coaches to work in the NPL because they're the license rules. People are actually getting passed on merits and not just because they're an ex-pro. Okay, so that's for me, that's one of the biggest disparities. We could go down a rabbit hole with that one, David, but for me, that's the biggest one. I think we actually need to look at apples with apples and try and get it as close to that model. I liken it this way. If I had a son who played rugby league, NRL, and he had a choice to go and play in Wales, in England for a rugby league team, or to come and play here in Australia for rugby league, 100% he's going to play in Australia because Australia has got the best rugby uh, league in the world on the planet. And it's the same with football. Unfortunately, I think in countries like Australia and USA, we're very proud and we have this tall poppy syndrome. And it's like, no, no, we've got to keep the players here. We've got to stop this English guy keeps sending players to Europe. Guys, get with it. European football's the best football on the planet. England's got the best league on the planet. If you want better Socceroos and you want better Matildas, and there's a reason why the Matildas are the best team or one of the best teams in the world, is because 82%, I think the stat is, of those Matildas moved to England at the age of 13 or above to be developed in the WSL. So I think we just need to look at it. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just need to have a little look at what some of the European countries are doing and just copy, rinse, and repeat, and we'll be fine. Great question, David. Second question, halfway to Europe. We just spoken about that a little bit. For young players from outside of Europe, what are the most effective pathways to transition to European football? Well, I'm going to be biased, guys, and I'm not going to not say anything else. It's this. It's called the Pro Player Pathway. This book has been written For boys and girls who live in Australia, the USA, Canada, New Zealand, if you're outside of Europe and you want to play pro football in Europe, this is the starting point. Do you want this book for free? I'll send it to you for free. All you've got to do is go to the link below, look at our platform, the community, school.com, skool.com/, pro player pathway. Register to our community. You only have to register for a minimum of 1 month. Once you're registered in the community, drop me a message and say, right, I want to get me copy of the book. I'll give it to my staff and my team. They will then send you a copy out in the post completely free of charge. Also, as part of the community, you'll get access to that book as an ebook for free as well. And also, if you did stay in the community for 12 months or longer, we actually offer you free player representation by an agent. That's me. And also free trials to the UK and Europe. Yeah, that's right. Player agent representation and free trials to the UK and Europe. You just pay for your own travel across and we set it up for you. So, guys, the answer to that question is the best pathway to Europe is the pro player pathway. It's in the book and it's on the community as well. Now, next little one we're going to have a little look at is Rick Fraser. So, little question that we've got in here. Would it be accurate to say at this age, under 14s, the more quality touches, the better for the developing child and the game and strategy and set plays? Once you're in the under 16s bracket, my son has 3 coaches, and when I track the average 2 hour session, which I see, so basically what he's asking is it's all around the amount of touches and how many touches you should be getting on average in a session. So we done the stats. When we looked at this, I worked in the Premier League for Leicester City Football Club, and I worked on one of the biggest projects for the FA called the EPPP. We discovered that players in South America and parts of Europe were touching the ball on average in a session for an hour, 1,500 to 2,000 times in an hour. So we went, right, okay, we want to go one above. So we said we want to do 2,000 touches or more in a session. Now, some of you might go, 2,000 touches of a ball in an hour. That's impossible. It's not impossible, guys. You could literally wrap that up in 15 minutes if you just apply yourself. The big thing is you got to keep your players motivated. You got to have different ways of getting lots of touches on the ball. Every player's got to have a ball at the feet or one ball between two. Again, if you want to know how to do this, you can go to our Pro Player Pathway community. It's all in the app and it's part of our football blueprint. So, Rick, the answer to your question, 2,000 touches or more in every session. If you do 5 sessions a week, that's over 10,000 touches of the ball. That's enough to become the next David Beckham. Okay, Matthew Campbell. We've got a question from Matthew in our community. My son and I would like to know the type of foods that he should be eating pre-game to get the best energy output from the game the night before the morning. And right, great question. Now, I'm going to see if I can do this through modern technology. I'm going to see if I can get control of my screen, and hopefully I can. Fingers crossed. And whilst I'm trying to get control of my screen, I think I've got to turn this one off. Let's see if I can get that on. See if modern technology is going to be good to me today or not. It's saying we're connected. We will see. Give it one more try. If not, I will just try and walk us through it and explain it. Apologies, it's not looking like it's going to work for me today. So, this one on nutrition, we've got a section within our community called DNA testing. And the DNA testing come from that 1.6 billion pounds project that we had in the UK and in the Premier League. Now, within our DNA testing, what we discovered was before you start putting in certain foods and what to eat pre-game and what to eat post-game, firstly, you need to ascertain what does your body actually want to eat and what does it actually like. So what we discovered was that there was certain foods that cause an intolerance to our system, and these certain foods that cause intolerance to our system, uh, actually can cause things like inflammation, injuries, doesn't allow your body to recover properly. So what we actually discovered was within this area was we were able to benefit players by knowing what food to go in and what food shouldn't go in. And one of the teachings that we actually discovered was actually once you get a DNA test done and you actually know what your body likes or it doesn't like, then that's the game changer. So before we start looking at that question in detail, from Matthew, what should we be eating pre-game? You need to first know what your body can or can't eat, and it can and shouldn't eat. And what I'm going to try and do is, guys, whilst we're on this live, I'm just going to try and get this uh, screen sorted because I really want to showcase this to you if I can. Fingers crossed I can get this connection going. There we go. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you my app, and this will help with the DNA test. Sorry, with the food question that we got. So if you come into our community, this is some of the things that you'll see that we've got how-to guides, we got free events all around the world. You can access the book. We got the football blueprints, but the big thing that I want to showcase to you, and I'm going to get to, is actually the DNA test. So you'll notice in our community, there's so many different courses and things you can work through. The big one that I really wanted to showcase here is if you're a member of our community and you just pay $37 a month, which is just over $1 a day, you get access to this. You won't actually get the test. The test is actually included in our full-time program. If you click in here, there's actually a video where I actually explain, and there's a full YouTube video on this. So you can actually Google this or YouTube search it, and it'll actually explain a little bit. And it's really, really important. But some of the benefits that we discovered is that when you get one of these DNA and intolerance tests done, it actually reduces inflammation, which is so important. It speeds up recovery time. Players can train and play longer. And the reason why this works is when you get this DNA test done, we get a sample of your hair, goes off to a lab, it comes back, it will then actually show you a little bit of your results. So hopefully I'll just click on this next screen. And what I'll do is on this screen, you probably can't see it, but in black are all different types of foods and drink. Now, the black means basically my body's okay to consume. Red, where there's red areas here, it means my body's not okay to consume. So I'll see if I can just load this up and get a bit of a zoom in for you. I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll see. We'll give it a go. But on the red, and you can actually download this and actually have a read, you'll actually see some of the things that come up for me. And some of the interesting ones was bacon was a red, Cadbury's chocolate was red. There were certain breads, but one of the most interesting ones was peppermint tea. So peppermint tea actually come up as a red on my system. So I used to drink peppermint tea. I don't really drink much else. I don't drink alcohol. I haven't done for many years. And I thought peppermint tea would be healthy. But astonishing to me, I discovered that peppermint tea actually causes an intolerance in my system, which leads to inflammation, which means I don't recover as well as I should do, which means my digestive system's too busy trying to flush the peppermint tea out, rather than getting me recovered for the next day for training or for a match if I was a player. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an answer. Again, on this document, you can see I've got all my results in there to showcase to you. And this is the beauty of this community is that it's more than just teaching you football. It's actually teaching you all the prerequisites that you need to make it as a professional football player. And then we even put things like conclusions in, and we can actually give you some of the information. But the best part of this community is everything is included, and there's full videos and prompts all the way through it, which would actually help you on that one. So that's a little bit about the how-to guide and also about the DNA. So hopefully for that question that we got from Matthew Campbell, would like to know a little bit about the food and the stuff you should eat the night before. The answer for me, guys, is actually get a DNA test done first and actually understand that your body wants diesel, it doesn't want petrol, or vice versa, and actually understand what your son and daughter wants. Once you've got that answer, Matthew, I believe you are on our full-time program. If you're not, it might be a consideration. And if you don't want to join the full-time program, but you just maybe are interested in getting one of the DNA tests done, guys, you can get this DNA test done. Once you're a member of our community, you can get it for $399 US, and we will get your DNA test done for you. And some people might say that's a lot of money, but it's not, because what it's going to do is it's actually going to give you the roadmap for the rest of your life, not just in football, but also what we've discovered is, and there's a lot of research out there now, and there's a lot of information coming back that they're now linking cases of diseases and illnesses that are linked to the body. So, for anyone who understands the word disease, it's a Latin word, and it's basically when your body's not at ease. That's where the word disease comes from. So, when you're giving it something it doesn't want, it means it's stressed and it means your body's not at ease. And that's where the word disease comes from. And that's where a lot of these diseases like cancers, chronic illnesses, ADHD, all these different things are coming from the food that's going into the body. You might actually think having an apple is the best thing for you, but actually having an apple could be the worst thing for you. So, do you want your son or daughter to go down this route and actually not know what you should be eating or drinking? So, again, one of the questions we get from mums and dads, can we get this test done? 100% you can. So, if you're a member of our community, you can click on it, you can purchase it, and we'll get it organized for you. And it literally takes a couple of weeks to turn around. And you literally need a little bit of hair. If you haven't got much hair like me, I have to take it from my legs. But if you're blessed with hair, you can take a sample, and we give you everything on how to do it, and we get all the results emailed to you within 14 days. All right, great question. So next one. So this one's from Theo. What's the most food as a pro eat before a match? How does player agents connect together with the football agent? So the first question, what's the most food a pro can eat before a match? So if we want to get really sports sciencey on this, I'm actually going to do a separate episode for this, because it's based on your height, it's based on your weight, but it's also based on what you burn through in a game and what your system is operating on. Now, some people's bodies operate on fats. Some people's bodies operate on carbohydrates, and it's very, very controversial at the moment. There's a lot of people saying the carnivore diet's the way to go. No, high carbohydrate diet's the way to go, and mix is a way to go as a balance. It's down to the individual. So it's a really tricky question to answer that one, if I'm really, really honest, Theo, because it's all down to the individual. But it's that tricky. We're actually going to do an episode, like literally a full hour on that one particular area, to break it down into all the different considerations on how you answer that one. How does player agents connect together with the football agency? So, within our community, I am a coach and I'm also an agent, but I'm an agent with a difference. I don't charge 10%. I only charge 50% of your son's future earnings. That was a joke, by the way, if anyone's watching and anyone who knows me. I don't charge anything. And the reason why I don't charge anything, because I liken myself to a bridge, and we've got the player and the family there, and we've got the super agents there. Players, mums and dads don't know how to make the son good enough to even get on a pathway. They don't know what you need to do to be good enough, and they don't even know a pathway exists. So, through the pro player pathway in our community, we've opened up a pathway now for people to follow. You can come on for as little as just over $1 a day. I guide you across the bridge by developing it. Once you get to a certain level and you're good enough, I then hand you off to a super agent at the end of that bridgeway. So that's the whole reason I set up this business. The reason why I set up our online community is to help those boys and girls who don't know what the pathway is, don't know how to develop into a star, and wouldn't know the first thing on how to connect with an agent. The reason why I'm doing that, I've probably got 33 of the biggest football agents connected to me and the pro player pathway at the moment, and we've got more agents joining us. We want you to get showcased to those agents when you're 16, 17, 18, once you sign them with one of the big clubs, to then for them to fight over you and to represent you, because they want to offer you the best opportunities and help you have a long and prosperous career. So great question. Nancy Murphy, another question is how can I track gym sessions? So the best way to track gym sessions on our program, if you are outdoors, you wear your GPS tracker from Stat Sports. That would be one of the best ways to track it. However, if you're indoors at the moment, the GPS trackers still don't fully work internally because they need access, clear access to Sky to go to the satellite. The best way you can do it, and I don't have mine on at the moment, but I've actually got an Apple Watch. Apple and smart devices are really good. But also, I've got a device called a Whoop device, and that's spelled WHOOP. Whoop devices are phenomenal for tracking your heart rate, for tracking how hard you're working, and even down to the activity that you're doing. So, my advice would be smart devices are the go for inside. Now, I think I have answered all of our questions today, and I did promise I was going to come back to you all. And I'm just going to put it up on the screen for everyone to watch before the finish. So if anyone is interested in joining us on the community, this is our community, guys. It's $37 a month US. So it's just over a US dollar a day to join us. The only commitment is you need to be with us for a month. After a month, if it's not for you, I actually encourage you to unsubscribe. We don't want people in the community who don't want to get better at football, don't want to help the sons and daughters have more fun and have more confidence, don't want to maybe make it as a pro, and don't want to be represented by an agent. And also, you are not a coach who doesn't want to learn anything. If you're in any of those categories, 100% unsubscribe after 1 month and maybe go and find something that you're more interested in. However, if you're a player who wants to just learn more, who wants to see the pathway and maybe make a decision if it is for you or not, maybe you want to consider going pro. Maybe you're a mum and dad just wants to help your son and daughter get a bit more success and learn more and get better at football. Or you're a coach and you want to just educate yourself. Because if you're a coach as well, I'll just show you quickly within the classroom. If we go into the classroom, we've got a section called the dugout. And within the dugout, you can actually select anything you want to work on. So let's say it's youth development, and we could say fun games and challenges. You can click in there, and straight away it'll take you to a video, and it will also take you to a PDF document which you could download. Also, maybe you're a club and you want to bring the level of your club up to another level, and you want me to come and pay you a visit. This is the deal that we do. If you're a member of a club, you're a director, a coach, and you're a president, no matter where you are in the world, if you want to bring the level of your players up, you want your coaches who are volunteers to have more support and help, all we look to do is we do packages for clubs cheaper than this. So as an example, we've just done a deal with a club. We gave them an annual subscription for just over $200 per player. And we will give them 2 days a year where I will come out to the club, work with the DOC, work with the president, and do a roadmap for the whole club. And we will show you as a club, no matter where you are, whether you're in Hawaii, whether you're in Chicago, you're in Northern Ireland, you're in remote Ireland off the coast of Spain, wherever you are, if you get a minimum of 80 players or more who are in your programs, elite programs, community programs, to join the community for a year minimum, we will commit to coming to you at least twice a year. And I will give you my undivided attention to help your club be one of the best football clubs and academies on the planet. And what does it cost you? Nothing. You've just got to get a set amount of players to come and join the community. And within that community and within the classroom, we can set up private areas for clubs where we can have additional learning for your coaches, for your players, and for your parents. So, guys, I've been online for over 4 hours. It's Sunday. I'm going to spend some valuable time with my daughters, and I hope you all have a great day. If you're watching this on a recording and you want to learn more, all you need to do is, guys, if you go to the bottom in the show notes, school.com, and that's skool.com/pro player pathway. And then once you join the community, we'll give you a free copy of the book, and also you get a free copy of the ebook. Guys, I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us on this live, and I hope I answered them questions to a good standard and you're going to learn a little bit from them.